I don't watch that game yesterday and get concerned about the performance by Jalen Herz. I do have concerns about the pass game, though, because when I watch the tape, I go, nobody's open. And they're way too talented of a group to get people open. Now, credit Green Bay, but it felt like when I watched the tape, Green Bay knew exactly where people were going to be. I mean, there's nowhere for Jalen Herz to throw this football, and so he has to kind of throw this ball as a throwaway, and it's a 2 or 3 yard completion. Down in the red zone, where? I mean, everybody's gripped up. There's nowhere to throw the ball. Maybe Saquon in the back corner float, but that's by the time that happens, he's leaving the pocket. Another opportunity, you're down in the red zone, you want to run a screen. Green Bay's all over it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like Green Bay had such an idea of they're going to run this stuff out of these looks or these actions. Again, nobody open, and by the time someone might late, even though I don't think they're actually open, Jalen's got to leave the pocket. And so everyone was having the conversation of Jalen Herz was so bad yesterday. Look it, there's nobody on the field that's open. Green Bay has matched up everything and everybody. And so everyone was sitting there going, well, Jalen Herz was rusty. I just didn't feel that way. I looked at the tape and said, my big concern would be, why does it look like Green Bay knew where everybody was going to be pass game-wise? And that's the biggest thing that Philadelphia's got to figure out.
Yeah. I saw this clip right before I went live, yesterday. I'm recording this, man, at 3:30 in the morning. I did my live stream and all of that. And now I'm like, I saw this video and it just like haunted me that I didn't make a clip out of this. I talked about the Eagles in a couple of videos on Monday. It's kind of weird because, it's Tuesday, whatever, on Monday. And, I defended Jalen Herz and talked about that he actually played a good game and that they didn't force and they did the game plan that they wanted to. And now when I saw this more and saw Dan Orlovsky talking about it, I'm just like, I want to double and triple down on that, honestly, because this shows you, actually, Jalen Herz deserves even more credit. I mean, the Eagles wide receivers were locked up, and the fact that he never made the mistake. Do you know how hard that is, man? In the playoffs, you have the whole world just bearing down on you, whispering, screaming in your ears, you're not good, you can't throw, pass game, A.J. Brown's upset, A.J. Brown's reading a book, you're not good. And the fact that he never made that mistake, and it was a perfect game. In a lot of ways, the Green Bay Packers, when you figure out where things went wrong, I said, look at what the Eagles' game plan was. I said, you should have just followed exactly what their game plan was, and you win that, and you could win that game. And in a lot of ways now, the Eagles fans, if you're trying to criticize Jalen Herz or you're unhappy, just look at what the Green Bay Packers did and be like, that's what happens when a quarterback tries to take a deep shot when it's not there. You get an interception. Big play slay. Like, that's how it goes down. So this is actually, dare I say it, like elite game managing. And it's a shame that Tom Brady didn't point this out enough, because I highly respect Tom Brady. He's literally Tom Brady. But he did have the one little soundbite, but he didn't do enough. He didn't go off enough on it, where he said, I think there was some boos, and I talked about this in my previous Eagles video, where there was I forget exactly when it was, but it was like third and long, third and medium, whatever it is, deep in their own territory, and they hand the ball off, and the fans are booing. And Tom Brady's like, no, like, that's smart. You're taking care of the ball, you're taking care of the game. It's like your defense is playing good. You have the lead. Like, this is smart situational football. And I love that. And it was like, obviously I, 100% agreed. And, who am I also to then, disagree with Tom Brady. So, of course, when he said that, I'm like, yeah, exactly. Good. But I understand, right? Because you can now unpack this game kind of from two different angles, right? A Jalen Herz angle or an offensive angle in terms of like, well, why weren't these guys open? What's going on? And that's kind of the thing, because so much of this offense is oftentimes built on, we got dudes. We got Saquon. We got AJ. We got Devontae. Jalen Hurts is dual threat, of course. And we got Dallas Goedert. Like, we don't have to use high-level creativity, because we got guys that can just win, that are just going to get open. And I think sometimes that's when the offense can get a little lazy. That's when you lack some of that creativity. Now, I'm not saying you have to go to the other end of the spectrum where you have to have like And again, when I say creativity, I don't mean like trick plays or nothing, because I'm personally not a huge fan of that. That stuff can be fun, that stuff can be cool, but we even saw the one kind of trick play on the fake tush push, and it didn't go anywhere. It could have gone somewhere. It could have been a connect, but it's like, that's not a foundation for me. That's fun, that's great, and obviously Eagles fans definitely know how important a trick play can be, in the Super Bowl. Nick Foles, let's go. But I sometimes I just look for, it's so funny if you ever watch games with people who don't really know football very well, especially if it's the opposing team that's doing it, where they throw guys wide open. You'll hear them be like, "Oh my God, how is so and so wide? How is Puka Nacua so wide open?" It's like, well, one, he's special, and two, Sean McVay is special, and Stafford's special. So yeah, they know how to do what needs to be done. Sean McVay will be able to scheme Puka Nacua open. Matthew Stafford is going to be able to throw with special anticipation, move the defenders with his eyes. Puka Nacua is going to be able to beat his man, find, the space, his spot in zone, or beat man-to-man, whatever it may be. And there you go. And, with the Eagles, you often don't see that a lot when you really think about it. All of these great big plays, some of the great big passing plays, when you think about it, like, it is just a special throw and a special catch, a one-on-one 50 ball, or just a great route. Like there isn't something that's necessarily like, oh my God, AJ Brown is wide. Oh, dude, Devontae, no one's around him. Like, you don't really see that often. Even when the Eagles had some momentum in their passing game, when they proved everyone, like, hey, we can pass the ball against the Steelers, like, it was all tight, physical, contested catches, and they got it, and they were able to do it. But like, the guys were not wide open. They were not. And I just, I live streamed the Minnesota Vikings game and the Rams game, and I mean that first drive, I mean, like, it was just like, the Vikings players, oh my God, it is late, man. It is about 4 a.m. now. The Rams, like, they were just wide open to the point where you're like, are they even playing defense right now? Like, what's even going on? And again, like, that's Sean McVay, man. Like, that is special game planning. And this is not me now saying, oh, Kellen Moore's not good, because I think Kellen Moore is great. I'm a big fan of Kellen Moore. But it does give you a little bit more of a question mark. And now I guess, like, it just kind of makes you question, like, okay, what do you do from here? And it's kind of perfect that I'm making this video, because you see the Rams, and I'm obviously going to talk about this more and do like an actual unpacking of the Vikings and the Rams game. But Sean McVay is real. He's a real coach. The Rams were ready to play. The Packers were not ready to play. The Vikings were not ready to play. I think if you're an Eagles fan, you would want to face the Vikings, especially after seeing how they looked against the Rams. So the Rams are for real. But here's the thing about the Rams. Like, they had not been playing great ball. And they've really only had one great game in the last, like, 3 or 4 games, to be real. Now, Stafford, Puka Nacua, McVay, that is elite. Cooper Kupp, not necessarily as much right now. But that is an elite trio right now. And the reality is that also with the pass rush on defense for the Rams, the Eagles now have, like, a couple key main and honestly pretty obvious objectives. And it's like, they got to handle the blitz. And one of the best ways to kind of handle that in a handful of ways is going to actually be able to establish the run with Saquon and to kind of, use that to their advantage in ways that then open up the passing game. And again, these easy throws, and where you are just going to hit Dallas Goedert for like a 5-yard pass, or you are going to hit AJ. Like, it doesn't have to be these go balls, these deep shots. Like, it can just be like, listen, you come after us, like, we're going to just be able to dump it up. We're going to take the 6 yards, the 7 yards, the 8 yards. We're going to get the ball out to Saquon in space. Like, again, be my guest, or Jalen is just going to take off. Like, I think it's important to also establish some designed runs with Jalen early on in the game, but designed runs where you're not taking hits. Because I think early on in the game, if Jalen Herz is having some designed runs but taking hits, almost as a Rams fan, like, you're almost be like, we'll take that. We're going to beat you up all game. Best of luck making it to the second half. But if you can get some design runs for Jalen Herz where he just kind of runs, even if it's just 5 yards, it's you can't, 5 yards, I'll take it. Come after me. I'll take 4 or 5 yards every single down, man. Let's do it. Right? Now it's 2nd and 5. Hand the ball off to Saquon. 3rd and 1. Okay. Tush push. Boom. First down. Like, just do it. Like, we'll take it. We'll take it. And guess what? We just, 5 minutes just came off the clock. Congrats. Stafford's great. Puka Nakuma's great. Sean McVay, you have an awesome game plan. Great. You're going to have the ball for 10 minutes. Awesome. Like, that's to me is what this, the game plan is from my viewpoint. At least, like, again, at 4 o'clock in the morning, making this video. I think I'm happy that Orlovsky really highlighted this, and it's why you sometimes really do need to watch these games multiple times, get some outside perspective, and, the quickness to jump on Jalen Herz, that he was rusty or that he was this, that he was that. And I didn't emphasize that guys were covered as much. I more emphasized the aspect of the game of, hey, like Jalen Herz actually played pretty high level. He played the game that was given to him, the game plan, etc. I didn't emphasize enough that some of the lack of the passing game was really just that guys were covered and tied up. And so that's why I really wanted to kind of do this follow-up and emphasize this, and definitely off of, Orlovsky. And again, when you see that those guys and how the receivers were really well defended, the fact that he then went 13 for 21, I understand it's only 131 yards, but when you look at that, 13 for 21, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, like that's actually really, really, really high level football. And that type of football actually is where you see these lesser quarterbacks really struggle. And so in a game like this, like Jalen Herz actually really does deserve a tremendous amount of credit. And sometimes the criticism is warranted and it makes sense. And you could say, Jalen, that was a bad throw. Jalen, you're missing this guy here, whatever it is. Like, it makes sense. Like, and that's why, like, I'm such a firm believer that, you criticize when it's warranted, you defend when it's warranted. You got to balance it out. You got to come from both angles. You got to come from both sides. And it's why I'm very comfortable going after a quarterback or a team or whoever, or defending them, because it's like, I'm going to just share how I feel it, how I see it, whether it's right or wrong, it's what I'm seeing in that moment. And always trying to go full circle. One of my biggest issues is always when people just constantly come at it from one side, not even like through a necessary bias lens, but they just are constantly, going after someone. And when then they play great or do something great, they don't now give that same amount of attention. If you're going to spend 5 minutes ripping someone and saying they're not good enough, if they have a great game or a great moment, my viewpoint is you better spend 5 minutes praising them then. Like, that's just kind of my mentality. And in a game like this, when you really kind of digest it and see how it all unfolded, the conclusion is that Jalen Herz actually played high level. If you want to call out Kellerman more, the offense, that's fine. I'm not doing that right now either, but I'm just saying, like, that's more fair rather than this game on Monday. Everybody was talking about it. This game on Sunday, then all the clips on Monday were just all about what's wrong with this past game. Jalen Herz, was he rusty? What's going on? This, that. And it's like, that's not the take. That's not the take. Dan Orlovsky, this is the take. And I'm mad that I didn't do this on Monday, but I was trying to rip through these clips, post as many videos as I can, and then, get ready for the live stream. So, better late than never. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Herz? The passing game and kind of, where some of the issues were and kind of how you thought about this, how it all kind of unfolded. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.